All right, so you are here because you are going to do the Fun on the Farm math performance task. Okay, now before we get started on this, there is a lot of vocabulary, and also I'm going to go over the skills that you need. However, this learning is going to be self-guided. Now, you're going to have Mr. Bushler helping you, but I'm not actually there. So there's going to be different times in this video that I ask you to pause it, and when I do, you actually have to pause it and do what I say, because if you don't do that, you're just cheating yourself. We want you to improve, okay? For many of you, I won't be there to grade this. It might be another teacher to look at it. However, I'm here to help you, okay? But when I ask you to pause something and try it on your own, I want you to do that, because one of the things we're going to talk about that you need is a growth mindset, okay? And with a growth mindset, you have to be willing to make mistakes and grow and learn from it, because you got to work that brain out, okay? So, Fun on the Farm, all right? This one here, hopefully you've already read through all of the problems, okay? Because with the math performance task, the best thing to do, the first thing I do is I just go through and look at the pictures or anything that's on there that stands out the first time. I just skim through it like 30 seconds. So right now, if you haven't done that yet, pause it and do that. Did you actually pause it? If you didn't, pause it now and go do that. Okay, so you skim through it. The next thing I like to do is I like to read through all of the questions, okay? And this time, just like my close reading, which I have a chart somewhere. Oh, I don't know where it is. But when you do this, you want to get the gist. So I just want to know what this problem is about. Fun on the farm. Is it about going on a farm and how much they need to feed the animals? Is it about building a barn? Is it about driving to the farm and getting directions? I want to know what it's about. Okay, so I want to read it and get the gist. So right now, read through all the problems and just kind of figure out what this is going to be about. So pause it and go do that. Okay, now I'm going to go over some of the vocabulary that you're going to see. Now, a lot of it is math vocabulary, but there's also some other farm terms, okay? And you're lucky because Mr. Bushler, he's from a farm. All right, so I can help you. We didn't have actually, we sometimes had some animals there. We had a horse there sometimes. Okay, but this one, they have a lot more animals on this farm. Okay, so let's go through some of our vocabulary. The first one is a polygon or polygons. What's a polygon? Okay, well, polygons are any kind of shapes. Okay, poly means many. Okay, and gon means side. So that just means many sides. It's any thing. It could be a triangle. It could be a quadrilateral. It could be a hexagon, octagon. They're all polygons. Okay, it's just like we're all humans, but some of us are adults and some of us are kids, okay? But we're all humans, all right? And then you get to more specific categories. This next one is a very important word, probably the most important one, and you might already know it, but if you don't, that's okay. But you need to know it's perimeter, okay? Perimeter. So maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't. The perimeter is the outside of a polygon or a shape, okay? It's the measurements on the outside. And the way you can remember that, meter, the root word actually means measure. And peri, the part there, actually means around. So this literally means measuring around something, okay? And you're going to do a lot of that, okay? So if you have this shape here, the perimeter is the outside of it. Okay, you might have heard in different things like surround the perimeter, or let's get around the perimeter. That means the outside of something, okay? So you're going to be finding the perimeter a lot. The area, that one doesn't come into play too much, but I just wanted to talk about it because I don't want you to get confused. The area is the amount of space on the inside, the flat surface on the inside, okay? Quadrilateral. Well, if we look at that word quadrilateral, just kind of like perimeter, we can break it down into chunks, okay? So right now, I'm stretching my quadricep. Okay, and that also has that word quad in there. Well, what does quad mean? Well, think about the word quadruplet. What does it mean if you have quadruplets? Yeah, you're right. There's 4 kids. The word quad means 4. Lateral means sides. Quadrilateral means any shape with how many sides? You guessed it, 4. So we're going to get that word quadrilateral here, okay? Length. That is the measure of something. You can measure how tall you are. That's your length of how tall you are. You can measure the length of this. You can measure the length of anything. So when it talks about the length, it means the measurement of that. Measure is another one, okay? That's when you're going to have to tell me how long something is, okay? The reason I put this one on here, with this performance task, if you are not using your units, and you're like, well, what are units? Units are what you measure it in, okay? If we're measuring this here, and it's 12 what? 12, is it 12 chickens long? Is it 12 milkshakes long? 12 inches long? 12 feet? 12 miles? You have to put your units, okay? And you might need to put the word feet, okay? You're going to see that later, feet, and it doesn't mean these feet, okay? It means like a ruler foot, okay? And finally, the last one is a regular hexagon. A regular hexagon is a hexagon. Well, a hexagon has how many sides? 6. 6 sides. A regular hexagon is a 6-sided shape when all the sides and angles are exactly the same. Okay, that's what makes it regular. All right. Other vocabulary. A ranch. Some of you might be like, oh, I love putting ranch on my wings or with celery or carrots or something like that. Well, a ranch is another name for like a giant farm. Okay, so on this farm, they might refer to it as a ranch, and you want to make sure that doesn't confuse you. A pen. Now, that might be something you write with. That's correct. However, in this case, they're talking about a pen. When you have animals, you can't just let them run free because they're going to run all over the place. They'll run away from the farm. They'll go on the road, different things like that. So we have to keep them in a pen. And some of them are going to look like this. So you might have seen that. Like maybe you have a dog pen, okay? Or maybe you're driving down the road and you saw some cows that were in a fenced-in area. We're going to do a lot of that there, okay? So that's the vocab you're going to need. Here's the skills you're going to need. Stamina. What does that mean? Okay, so when you're running a race, you're running a marathon, you can't just go out and train one day and then go do it. You have to train a lot of days. You have to build up your stamina. That's how long you can work on a problem. So for this, you have to stay focused on a problem for a very long amount of time. Because I'm going to tell you right now, these problems are not easy. They're meant to challenge you. They're meant to be difficult, okay? And you have to stay focused. So stamina is staying focused for a long amount of time. Growth mindset, we already talked about. You have to make sense of these problems. Now, I'm going to be here to help you with that. But when you're reading these, you're going to have to figure out, is this an addition problem? Does this have a missing part to it? Is this asking me to figure out what all the sides are or just one side? You have to figure out what it's really asking you. You're going to have to find the perimeter, which we already talked about is the outside. And for some of them, you're going to have to find the missing part. It's going to say, for example, like I had 3 apples. Betty had some more apples. All together, we had 7 apples. How many did Betty have? Well, here I am with 3. Betty, we don't know what she has, but we know all together it adds up to 7. This is the missing part. Well, you might have already figured out what it is. That missing part is 4. Okay, so you're going to have to do that for some of these, and they get a little bit tougher than just this one. Okay, so if you're like, oh, that's easy, well, they get very hard. Okay, so finding this part, and then you're going to need to know how to add and using different strategies. We're going to show you some number line. We're going to combine friendly numbers, which is one of Mr. Bushler's favorites because you get to use that mental math. Okay, sometimes I actually get a little bit lazy, to be honest with you, and I got really good at doing math in my head, and then I still could explain the strategy, but doing it in my head has always helped me in real life. So we're going to use those strategies too, but you do have to show your work. All right, so this is just kind of to get you a little introduction to this, and I hope you're ready. You've looked at the problem. We're ready to go, and we're going to tackle number 1. So right now we got to practice our stamina, our growth mindset, and let's tackle this. Good luck, guys, and please make sure you're referring to the videos, but if I ask you to pause, you have to pause. Thank you.